All right, welcome. My name's Marshall Tuten. I am a business leader, a direct sales expert, a growth coach, and I love having conversations with people I respect. And Andrew Zambetti, we have him here today. Andrew is somebody I've known since 2019, and I'll let him introduce himself. But one of the biggest things that I've learned from Andrew is what it looks like to have some consistent self introspection and growth over time, even when things are crazy and changing and the world is unpredictable. And I think Andrew's really good at conveying those ideas and many other things. So, Andrew Zambetti, tell us a little bit about yourself and we'll get
Cool.
started.
Appreciate it, Marshall. Well, I grew up in Gulf Breeze, Florida, which is a small town, and I was a three-sport athlete. So I have the athletic background, football, basketball, track, and love sports, but I knew I wasn't going to go pro. So I was always trying to get rich. And I was working minimum wage jobs all throughout high school at the same time I was playing sports. And I was getting good grades because I was always told that if you want to make it big and get rich, you have to make good grades. So I was a scholarly student, got a full academic ride to Florida State. Decided not to try to walk on for football or anything, and just basically just tried to make it big there. And throughout the process of being there, got into business, got into sales for the first time, did network marketing, got to one of the top levels in my network marketing company, and that company went down. But that opened up my mind that you don't have to make good grades to get rich. You don't have to even get a degree. You don't have to do the same thing as 40,000 of their kids at Florida State. And so I was always trying to just hustle and make my dreams come true, which my dreams were to have the best life ever, to be able to do whatever I want to do, have my dream girl, have a family, and just be ultra athletic at the same time. And so yeah, that's basically what I focused on all throughout college. And then as soon as I graduated college, I started Better Earth in 2016. We started door to door. Just didn't know anybody, just door to door selling solar. And I thought that was the next big thing. I still believe in solar, still believe it's the next big thing. But we became top 10 in the nation, actually, as you know. That's how me and you met. And just had to leave that company just due to different visions between the partners. And now I am doing more blue collar business, which I have grown to love. So doing a window cleaning business, letting my money work for me, my investments, and still working out every day, usually twice a day, and just keeping the social life alive. So yeah, best life ever is the goal. Business, dynasty, and athletics, and no bad habits. Just only connecting to God. That's really it.
That's awesome. So, I really appreciate your perspective on things when it comes to a good balance of like letting it flow, kind of like the hippie side of life where you could almost be you're not a hippie, you're far from a hippie, right? But like the side of life where we want to just kind of let things flow, like let things naturally happen, go with the flow. And then also that side of life in business that requires uh exertion and requires effort, right? And there's a balance of both. You can be too far on one side and you can be too far on the other for sure,
Hmm.
but finding that like flow, which we'll get to that idea here as we go through this concept, but finding that is key to like your personal growth and doing it the way that works for you. And there's some recent concepts you've come up with lately that you've been talking about, and I want to hear about them. But in the context of an idea I was thinking of this morning while I was at the gym, just like you, Andrew, you had a big chest day today. I did like shoulders and
There you
back,
go.
right? So we were both in the gym early this morning, crushing
Yeah.
it, coming to this with our bodies and minds fully engaged, right? And in the gym, I was thinking of this idea of proving something to the world, like proving something, living to prove something, right? You'll see like in movies or in pop culture, I've seen this idea of like that kid's got something to prove, and it always sounds like a bad thing, at least the way I've heard
Hmm.
it. Like he's just got something to prove, right? I think it can be maybe negative,
Hmm.
but only this is the distinction. I think proving something is the right way to live your life. But it's not to prove it to anybody else, it's to prove it to yourself. And I think if you focus on the things that you want to prove to yourself, your abilities, your passion, right? Your work ethic, all of these things come from you. The best long term winning comes from you proving those things to yourself because you want to be the best you can, versus proving it to other people because you have some idea around what people want to see,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Tell me what you think about that idea of like proving yourself and proving something in life.
As you say that, I just think about how confidence only can come from yourself. No matter what anyone tells you, or no matter what the outside looks like, it only comes from you. And there will be so many times where I won't want to do something, like something that's kind of scary to me, and I'll willingly go out there and fail. I will think I'm going to fail. I'll be like, yeah, I'm just going to have to fail at this because I said like an hour ago that I would go out and do this thing. Like I said that if I got put in this situation again, I will go out and do it next time. And I have dealt with the regret of not doing that so many times. I'd literally probably rather die than live with that regret. And it just sucks so bad to say you're going to do something and then chicken out at the last second. And so now I could care less about the result. I actually feel like I got to win, even if I failed, if I just do the action. Like I will be ecstatic with a loss that I do what I say I'm going to do. And that's how I get confident, is just doing that. And then you realize you don't win. I mean, you don't lose a lot of the times. And how simple it really is to win in this world is actually insane. Like that most people just don't have any courage. Most people just don't have the balls to do what they say they're going to do when the moment counts. And I was thinking about like great athletes and just great business people, and you watch them, like you could watch them on TV or just watch them in general, and it's like not that crazy what they're doing. You're just thinking, okay, I could do that, I could make that shot, I could say those things, like I could do that. The difference is the great people can do it in clutch situations. And why can they do it in clutch situations? Because they've consistently put themselves in very uncomfortable situations to the point where they can become comfortable in those uncomfortable settings. So it's almost like greatness is not even that crazy. It's just being able to execute in very simple things because you're not scared. You're just bold enough to do it all the time. You can be consistent.
Incredible. Be it fear, one interesting concept, the concept about fear, right? Fear shows itself in so many ways. And fear can be really primal. It can be like a I'm going to die thing, right? And fear can also be more like existential, like what's does it really matter if I do anything? Like what's if we don't have any idea of what's going to happen when we die, like what's going to happen,
Mhm.
right? Like you have all these different ideas around that go to like solve this idea of like the two biggest problems, which is like, how can I make my life matter? And like, once I die, what's going to happen? Right. And if you have fear around either of those things, you're going to end up in a position where you're trying to prove yourself to other people because you can't prove yourself to yourself. You can't do what you say you're going to do. Right. You can't lock into that because of fear. And so the concept of fear, um, I'd love to jam on that a little bit. Like, how do you think fear what role does it play in like life?
What role does fear play? I think fear is like almost like nervousness, where you can use it as excitement or you can use it as something that's going to block you. Fear is almost like a bigger step. It's almost like, all right, it's either going to like really hit you hard and just debilitate you, or it's going to act as a slingshot, because with that fear, you can use that fear as energy to then boom go forward. And it's almost like when you are scared, you have no choice but to just turn it to God and be like, all right, well, I'm just gonna have to let the cards fall where they may. I'm going all in, clearing out the mind, because the mind is not going to help you in a survival or performance circumstance. And then that's when the greatest performances come. You know what's funny? I actually get more nervous and scared when I don't feel any fear or any sort of like nervousness, and that is sometimes pretty frequently the case now, where I'm like, oh boy, I don't have any juice now. Like I don't have my normal kick of adrenaline to like make this thing happen. I hope it happens really well now. But and sure enough, that's like a new fear to then get over. It's like a limiting belief. I have to be scared. No, you don't, and you'll still win.
It's the story you tell yourself about the fear. It can be a catalyst for you cowering and not doing what you're capable of, but it can also be, like you said, it's just energy. So you can decide what story you tell yourself about that energy. Like, does this mean something's bad? Does this mean that something, you just label it, right? Like you label it as like, this is a bad thing, or this is evil, or this is et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then you don't use it for what it is, which is literally just, like you said, energy that can be turned into what you want it to be. As long as you don't, I think it's as long as you don't deny that you're feeling it, right?
Dude, yeah.
Like if, as long as you admit you're feeling it and you're just like, let's go anyways, that's the key to like courage. What do you think about
Oh,
that?
100%. That's spot on because your brain will rationalize whatever decision you're about to make. So, I'll give you like an example. So I don't have my dream girl yet like you. So I was over here doing some work on my balcony and I see this dime piece girl at the pool. And I'm like, all right, well, I gotta get going. Like I have to, head out, do some job, whatever. And I was like, I don't have time to like go out and like approach her and do all this thing. And not to mention, it's like weird. Like, what am I going to just walk out to the pool, get her number and leave? Like, that's just, it's just the whole thing is just off and bad timing. And then I remember saying to myself, nope, Andrew, you said that the world is your playground. You get to live in your dream and you're just going to burn it to the ground that way. Like, screw it. You're not going to live in fear and you're not going to not do what you say you're going to do and not going to do what you don't want to do. You can't do what you don't want to do. You must do what you want to do. And I was like, screw it, I got to do it then. So I just, go out there and I do it, and it turned out well. And but here's the point I bring that up for is because as I decided I was going to do it, my brain was starting to make excuses of how it would be insane not to. It was like, oh, dude, there's like she's like way off in the corner, she's by herself, she's bored, like reading, she's like on her cell phone or something, and it's like I could take 2 minutes and do that. And, there's other people out there talking. No one's going to hear me. Like, and so I started like to have all these reasons of why I should do it as soon as I decided I'm going to commit to doing it. So that's almost like what fear is like. As soon as you commit, you're going to commit to facing it or whatever you're going to do. Boom. All the reasons come into how you're going to win.
Or again, if you tell yourself a different story about it, all the reasons for why you shouldn't do it come in
Exactly.
again.
Yeah.
Like double down, right? They were already there, but now they're like double the height. You just like doubled the size of the wall that wasn't even there.
And there's
You just
and
decided.
there's always going to be a reason to not do something. Like like you will always have a rational excuse to not take action. Like 100% of the time, like if you don't have a rational reason to not take action, that's God like trying to slap you in the face as hard as he can because it's always going to be there. Like there's always going to be a reason not to do something and to chicken out, Always, 100% of the
Totally,
time.
totally. And it's interesting. I was talking to a client of mine this week, and Andrew and I have both sold high ticket products for a long time, and generally around home services, right? Like you've got your windows, you've got solar, you've got battery power, you've got roofs, like all the stuff. We've done work in real estate, so like we know how those conversations go. And I had a conversation with a client who I've been working with for a while, and he kept. We had been making a lot of progress on his project, and he kept saying like, I'm not sure about this, I'm not sure about this, like bringing up line after line of the things that like we didn't know, right? And I just leveled with him. I said, hey, like in my life and in just in financial decisions and life decisions, I've realized that it's better to make decisions based off of the things you do know, not off of the things that you don't know. Let me say it again a little more clearly. It's better to make decisions based off of the things that you do
Mm,
know, not off the things that you don't know.
yeah. No fear of
And
unknown.
so, exactly, the unknown's going to be there either
Hmm.
way. So like, why not find a way to embrace it? Why not learn how to like have the tools and the sword per se to go and like smite the dragon instead of just being like, oh, I don't know, maybe I should just like leave it alone and like not go near it or sneak around it, right? Just go face it and you'll get like that sword, right? You'll be able to go and like mythically slay all of the things in your way.
And that's funny that you say that. That's kind of become my selling style now that I'm 30 and you're getting up there too. It's like we're
I'm 30, dude.
are you okay? You just look younger than I do. um,
It's a beard. I can't grow facial hair like you
yeah,
can,
you
but
put it on the top of your head.
exactly,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, it's almost become like giving them advice because I remember feeling this way when I was 22 even, but I was way too unconfident to take action on it. And then even like at 25 saying to myself, wow, I'm 25 years old. I'm a grown man now. And I started to really internalize what I'm about to say. But now that I'm 30, it's like it's internalized. Like I feel like I am the leader of all these people. Like no matter who I meet, no matter what stranger, no matter what they've accomplished, no matter how old they are, it doesn't matter. Like I know I have a better way of life than almost anybody. And if they are on the same way of life as me and the same way of thinking as me, then we're gonna do this, and we don't have to even convince it. You know what I mean? So like that's almost become
Sure.
my selling style. Is hey, like what you just said. Hey, look, it's better we focus on what's known rather than the unknown. Let's do this thing. It's the right thing to do. And like we're a father to everyone.
Mm, mm. A figure
I don't even know if
of
you meant
confidence.
to embody that figure to that customer, but that's what you were doing. You're like a leader and a
Yeah, you're
father to
totally
them.
right. Yeah, and it, I think one of the biggest things that holds people back is not being willing to like learn from situations or people because of maybe status or because like again, you have fears. Like if I told myself, "Hey, go talk to your clients like they're your children," um, I could mess myself up there too, right? But at the same time, I remember, especially in direct sales, in when you go out and you eat what you kill, right? You knock on doors, you cold call, you talk to people, and you're asking for them to buy into an idea with you, right? You become capable of communicating ideas in a way that it's very simple to
Yeah.
understand. If you can't communicate complex things, what true intelligence is, or wisdom, you could say, is being able to communicate complex ideas and complex topics in simple ways that just hit home, that make people act, that make people understand it, right? I think you've always been very good at that. I remember some of the first times I had met you back even in 2019, 2020, where you would talk about the deal or talk about what we were doing, talk about the purpose. It was always a very clear message.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't need to say lots of words. You didn't need to say a big long monologue, which you would do shorter ones. But what the concepts you'd say were simple and clear. Like we have the best deal ever. Nobody can beat us, right? We have every reason to go out and win today. Those basic ideas with confidence, you've always been really good at least conveying those. I'm curious, in those moments, did you ever have times where you had to communicate clearly and strongly, but maybe you weren't so sure yourself? Have you ever felt
No,
that?
I think that was the thing is I was always pretty sure. So I was actually about to say I think almost everyone has the same ability to communicate it. They're just not confident enough to do it. Like, oh, or maybe they're thinking that, well, I need to say more. Like it's like they're trying to get something out of the customer so much that they ignore their instincts and then just like verbally vomit everywhere. And I've always been good at being detached from the outcome. Even if I was still attached, like I'm still usually more detached than just about everybody. So I could just say what I really felt, and I had the courage to do that. But it's pretty rare if I don't like feel confident what I'm doing. If I don't, then I take some time. I don't watch TV. Like I have a TV right there for maybe like a documentary or something. I don't use it. I don't watch TV. I
Yeah.
don't really go on social media. If I have problems, I take a pen and paper and I start writing stuff down, dude, and I figure it out. I don't leave my room and I don't leave my car till it's figured out. I don't step out the car till I'm confident.
So key. It's that energy, right? Like you can go into something, say the exact same things or similar things, have a different energy about you, and you're going to have a different result.
Hmm. Yeah, there was this one time on that topic where it was like when I realized that what I pictured Better Earth to be wasn't happening, and I had to like go up and talk to the company, and I was almost like being a politician up there. It was like the only time. It was like one of two times I've ever done it out of the thousands, you know. And after I did it this one time, I said I'm never doing that again. Like I'm never. Like I'll say anything, but I'm not going to say anything fake anymore. Like that was just, I can't, it didn't feel right. Like I couldn't do it. And
Yeah.
from then on, it's like I just talked about whatever I felt was true, whatever I could believe in. And if they wanted me to talk about something else that I knew wasn't true, I couldn't do it. So yeah, it's like you have to say what you believe to be confident. You have to do it. You can't, there's no like skill for that. You just have to actually have conviction.
Mm. Why do you think? Because at that point, right, where you decide to say something that you don't believe, right?
Yeah.
There's
Oh
pressures
yeah.
from outside, right? There's pressures from outside, from people, groups, money, yourself, all of that. What do you think is the tipping point between like telling the truth and lying? Like even if it's small, right? What pushes you over the edge to like I'm going to be true. I'm going to say what's true
Well, what's
for you.
hard is that this is the hard part. This is where people catch, like, this is where I was like, it used to be true, and I used to believe in it, and I wanted to believe in it. So it's like something that I believed for years, and I know you know what I'm talking about. Something I believed for years, something I wanted to believe, and then it's like slowly but surely starts to change, but you don't really know, like you don't even know it's changing when it's changing. And then like these big moments come where you have to maybe speak on it, and you come after that big moment and you're like, no, I say this isn't true anymore, because like you haven't maybe taken enough time to reflect on if it's true or not, because you just are going through your life. But in those big moments, you realize what is true, and that's why you need the world to kind of pressure test you. You need to put yourself in those uncomfortable situations to see, how confident am I really? What do I really believe? What do I really do when this happens? Like, that's how you find out, is in those situations. And that's why we do the workouts that me and you do, that are so hard, because you find out, what are you made out of. Are you just going to say you're a super saiyan, or are you really, because you'll find out after a minute. You'll find out
Yeah.
after a minute on that treadmill, on that air bike. So yeah, I think that was your question.
Oh yeah, dude. No, I think we're headed in a really good direction. I like where we're headed, and it reminds me of like truth. Do you think? Well, first of all, yes or no? Do you think truth
Oh,
exists?
100%. Dude.
Okay. What
Yeah.
is truth then? Like, how would you define truth?
All right. So I'm glad you asked, because I have really like take some time to figure truth out, because I was trying to, one, get all the results I wanted, two, be able to live the best life ever. I had all these goals, and it boiled down to a truth, and the truth is we have everything. Okay, like, we have life. We need nothing. Nothing outside of us can really give us that life. We have life already. God controls it all. No matter what religion you are, we were born from a creator. No matter what it looks like or what it actually is, we have a creator, and I call that God. Okay. And having fun, doing what you want, and just being honest and being present is always going to lead to a better result than doing the opposite of those things, such as being negative, being scared, being nervous, trying to block out your flow. It will always be better. It might not always win, but it will always be better than doing what I call the wrong thing, which is to be negative, scared, try to, be strategic in a bad way, that kind of thing.
Mm. I love what you said, where it's not always going to win, but it's always going to be better. So I get. Tell me if you think this builds on that idea, or if I'm heading in the right direction. Winning, you get to win whatever game you decide to win in life. You can win. There's so many games. There's financial games. There's physical games. There's like weird social games, right? There's all kinds of things you could go out and you could spend your time like winning at,
Extra
right?
fun social games too.
All kinds of things, right? So you could decide to go out and like win whatever you want to win, but it doesn't mean that the thing you won is actually going to matter to you, or that it's like actually in line with what you want in life, right? So you can go out and you can win a game in a business and then realize, dang, this isn't for me,
Oh, we
right? Like this isn't for me, or it's not the right move, or whatever it might be. But it doesn't. And so you have to be careful what you decide to go out and like win per se, and make sure it's in line with those things like what you said, that line up with truth and your values, and like what you really really want out of life, because those wins, that's what you really want to win. You don't want to win those other things for other people because they told you, hey, this is the game you got to win to matter in life. This is the game you got to win to be good at business. This is the game you got to win to get somebody's approval, right? That game is the wrong game. You can still go win it,
mm.
but staying in touch with your values and your truth is going to let you win the game that actually
Oh, you
matters.
and you can tell when someone's like true goal is something outside themselves, because they don't sound right. Like, they don't look right. It's like the people that dress trendy and talk funny. It just doesn't. It's wrong, bro. Like, it doesn't even make sense.
Not funny.
Yeah, and like, if you hang out
What
with
do you
them,
mean?
you could like just see them thinking, like, eyes
Oh
wide.
yeah.
It's weird. But what was I gonna say? You were saying something. Oh yeah, that's why like my goals now are completely internal. Like I've always tried to only have internal goals once I figured out the truth. But it's hard, because like if you've never made a lot of money, you want a lot of money, bro. And like
Yeah.
if you're not getting laid, like sometimes you're like, I need to get laid, So you just like you can't help it sometimes, right? But the thing is, you go through here's what happens: you go through enough of these cycles where you do make a ton of sales, you do make a ton of money, and you realize, oh, okay, like I, I didn't do anything for like my actual life. Like my moment to moment, as I'm standing here in my apartment talking to Marshall, like it didn't actually like do anything. Like how I actually live in this one singular moment didn't change. And then you realize that enough times to the point where you're just, okay, like my actual goals need to be more internal, more different, to the point where that's why you see a lot of the guys that have those external goals. They're one, not happy in the moment. Two, when they get it, they're like, damn, I don't know. I made all this money and now I'm not happy. And then they like go, it's so funny. Like then they go the opposite direction. They like try to turn into a shaman or something. Like they, I don't even know what they do. They just like stop doing what they were doing. Like as if that's going to now be the answer. It's like, no, bro, like it was neither of the outside answers. Like it just,
Mm.
so yeah, then you see that whole thing. But yeah, no, it's the biggest mistake I make sometimes is I do get attached to the goal because I am like hardcore goal oriented. So what we would tell to someone who isn't like us, I mean, me and you, bro, we're militant. We've never been in the military, but we are militant. I know anyone who knows you, just however, Marshall, Marshall, like I'm the same way. We need to calm ourselves down. Like we need to take ourselves
Yeah.
away from thinking about the goal too much. And if you're like a hard driver, you got to do the same thing. Now, you might be the guy who's eating Cheetos and can't get yourself out of bed in the morning, can't wake up on time. You don't need this advice. Your advice is you need to be more militant. But yeah, that's kind of how I feel about that. Is
What do you mean by militant? You mean
disciplined,
disciplined, uh, focused,
focused,
like
disciplined,
really, really. I think what it is, dude, is at
obsessed.
some point obsessed. It comes to the same beginning concept that you mentioned again, which is one side of the spectrum is like working so hard at your business and your thing you're building that you literally become a cog in machine the same way that you would have if you were in like a 9 to 5, where you're
Mm-hmm.
literally a slave to your business. You're a slave to the things that you've built and you like resent it,
And you never want to
right?
quit.
And
When is
never
the
want to
right
quit
time to
because that would
quit?
be quit. What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. What do you mean quit? No,
What?
no, there's no quit. It's like, no, sometimes you need to quit. If you're like us, dude, you'll carry a whole company on your back and not even be knowing it.
It's true.
If you're like, no,
That's
extreme
true.
ownership, we can never quit. It's
Yeah.
like, no, like now that I'm out of that, it's so much easier. Life is just easy now. And it feels weird. I'm like, am I missing something? Like I feel paranoid. I'm like, yo, it seems too easy to make money now. It seems too easy to like enjoy my life now. What's going on? It's like, yeah, I've gotten better at those skills necessarily, but that's not what it is. It's like, no, I went to the right thing, but now now I'm just completely focused on being attached to God. Like that is 100% my thing. I have a whiteboard right here.
Let's see
It's
it.
it's Team God, one mission, one dream, LOE, which is code word, and then no distraction. So yeah, it's the biggest thing for me is I just got to stay attached to God. If I stay attached to God, and now I know what fearing God is. I was like, fear God. I grew up for my whole life. I didn't know what that even meant. I was like, why would I fear what created me? Why would I fear what loves me? That didn't make sense to me at all. I get it now. Fear God means if you don't be attached to God, if you're not afraid to leave God, you're going to get slapped around by the world. You're going to lose your soul. You're going to lose your energy. You're going to lose your results. You're going to lose it all. Everything will suck. Your life will be worse. Your circumstances will be worse. Your money will be worse. Like everything will be worse. So you better attach to God and do it because you want to. Do it because it feels so much better. Do it because it's so much more fun. Do it because the results are so much better. But if you start to get attached to the goals that you have, use fearing God to keep you attached to God. That's how I do it.
What does it mean to be attached to God?
It means to me, it means being present to the moment, keeping my focus on God and truth, and um, I would call it like my autonomy, my reality. Like I live my way because here's the deal. Like I'm very aware that we're gonna die one day, even though I like to believe I'm gonna live to 900, and I I really kind of believe I'm going to be 300, dude. I don't see why I'm
Let's
going to
go.
die. Like, why would I die, bro? Like, I have like the
Why?
best habits ever. I only put good fuel in me. I feel great. I go like, I don't know why I would die, but one day I'll probably die. So, anyways, I'm going to die one day. And so because of that, like my biggest regret would be that I die and I wake up and I'm like, oh damn, that was a dream. Because I have very lucid dreams where I sometimes I know I'm dreaming, sometimes I control my dreams, but sometimes I don't. And when I don't control my dreams and I don't know I'm dreaming, and I was maybe having a stressed out dream or like a bad dream, I wake up, or just a medium dream, and I wake up and I'm like, damn, I was dreaming. I could have done anything I wanted. I could have done anything I wanted, and it was a dream. It didn't even matter. And I just wasted all that like cool experience. I would I don't know. I couldn't live with it. Like I don't even want to fathom. I die, and that's how and then that turned out to be the thing. I'm like, damn, bro, I died. I didn't do what I wanted to do. Like it's such a nightmare. I can't swallow that thought. So I just don't do it.
Being connected to God is being present, and it's doing what comes naturally to you. I mean, would you say that that's the right
It's hard to,
direction?
yeah. I mean, I don't have a true definition for it. I kind of know when I do it. I do it. It's something that I just tell myself.
It's a
It's like a
feeling.
zone. It's like
It's a zone, it's a
yeah,
feeling.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So that's interesting. I think the great Tony Robbins, he says that the quality of your life will be determined by the quality of your emotions. It's interesting because we all have emotions, but nobody wants to be emotional,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know, and what I mean by that is it's just on that end of the spectrum where instead of like you can have action determine everything, or you can have like presence determine everything, but you need to have a combo of both. And I think that one of the most important things that sticks out to me about what you said is just this idea of connection to something that can like breathe intelligence and like inspiration into you, right? So the ways that you connect with inspiration and intelligence outside of yourself, that's like connecting to God. What do you think about that concept?
Yeah, yeah. It's like where is all my focus going, and more importantly, where is it not going? And then it does inspire me. Yeah, it fires me up because how could you not have fun if you feel like you're at recess every day? Like how could you live wrong if you go on recess and then you do it in the right direction? It's
Mm,
like part of what I actually it's hard to say I enjoy going door to door, but I really appreciate it. And I know it's what's best for my soul because when you go to a door, first of all, you're outside. Secondly, you're talking face to face to a human. Thirdly, you really can't have like a big thing in your head because if you do, the results are going to be horrible. Like if you go up with like a really strict setup script and you only stick to that, you're gonna have abysmal results because everyone hates a robot. So it's like you go up to a door, you're at recess. All right, so I'm gonna clear my mind out, see what happens, and then see what comes out of me. And half the times I say something, I don't even know. I didn't plan it. Like it just came out. It came out right, and it came out right because I was getting my energy and my thoughts from I would consider the right place. I got it. I got it from outside of myself, from God.
yeah. Hmm.
And that's how it is when I talk to women. That's how it is when I make friends. It's how it is with even the best athletic results I've ever had. Is just it just can't. You create new closing lines just by going in and just letting it fly.
Yeah. Because you're communicating like you're actually speaking the truth, right? Instead of speaking some lie, some like script,
Yeah,
right? Maybe if you wrote the script out, sure, there's things you stick to, right? There's patterns that you have to follow to be successful. But what I think the problem is when you try to do something exactly like everybody else, like you're going to end up putting yourself in a less happy situation.
facts. My friend was telling me, he goes, "Man, I wish they could create a technology that would tell us what animals are thinking because he wants to know what cats are thinking." And I said, well, they wouldn't be thinking in English. They would be thinking in maybe like vibration and like feelings and stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, that's true. And the thing is, when we put ourselves in these maybe uncomfortable or just exciting or fun situations, we're feeling like all these infinite different ways, and we're vibrating in all these like maybe super high ways. So if we are sticking to one boxed in things of what to say or do, then you're going to block yourself out from how those vibrations and energies are trying to come out for real. Like, because if you're letting yourself out, you're going to do your brain is going to do its best to translate how you're feeling and thinking in words. And that's how the good lines happen. That's how the cool things
Mm.
happen. Now
Right.
it's
Because
wrong. On that same note, sometimes we're feeling real low, and so it almost is like, oh, like let's stick to the script that I had when I was feeling high, when I'm feeling low, because you don't want what's. This is why people don't flow. This is why people do stick to stuff, because they're feeling horrible. They're like, overdosing on caffeine, and they're drinking alcohol, and they're doing drugs, and they're like, screen time is through the roof, and all these bad things they're doing, that things that I and like eating processed food, all the bad stuff, not working out, whatever. And so they feel horrible, so they're just trying to not put that on to a person, for one, for their benefit, and two, for their results. And so they're like, let me just tell me the answer so I don't like put myself on to anyone. And they're like trying to hide from it. And the thing is that won't really work either, because then it's going to come off incongruent. You really have no choice but to become a better person. For the better or worse, you actually have to become a better person if you want to succeed in business. And if you don't want to
mm,
succeed in business, and go get paid for your time and your manual labor, because that's the only options that you'll have, and not the manual labor that requires a brain. The manual labor that's just like, hey, I need a body, and I need you just to pick something up and put something down. That kind of labor, like minimum wage type stuff, because that's the only thing you'll be able to do. Otherwise, you're going to fail at everything.
mm. Failure. You were talking at the beginning about how failure, you're okay with failure because it's about the story that you tell yourself about what failure actually is. Like if you are fearing making a mistake, good luck. You're not going to do anything,
Yeah.
right? You've got to be willing to go out and fail. And I think it's about I think a very good indicator that you have the wrong friend, the wrong business, the wrong people around you, the wrong something is going wrong is where you are afraid of making a mistake, right? Like if you are at the same time, you got to have standards, right? You can't just be like, I don't care if I make mistakes, but it's when you're pushing yourself to be able to go out and like, I'm going to take action despite the result and trusting yourself to get better at getting the result over time instead of being upset about like messing up,
Hey, we
right?
all have the same path, man. We all have the same things. Like, we have a certain amount of failures we've got to hit to get to where the mastery that we need to be at, and it's just who can fail that faster. Who can get there faster. The people that don't really have that success mindset, that don't do it. I hate putting myself out there around those people, because let's say like you're doing a workout or like whatever it might be. We'll use the workout as an example. You work out around these people, and they'll be like, "Go harder, go harder, go harder! Like do this, do this." Like, oh, and like, oh, I'm sore here. It's like, oh, don't be a pussy, blah blah. It's like, I already know like you're never gonna be anything in life. Like those people never are anything in life, and I hate when I go around those people, and they're telling me those kinds of things. Like clearly you don't understand. Like if you have a really accomplished person, you don't tell them those things, because they'll like it. One, it won't work. Two, they'll kill themselves. It's like whenever I'm training someone, like whenever I'm working out with someone, they think I'm gonna be like that guy, like, oh, go harder, blah blah, do this. It's like, I mean, if they're not going hard, I'll tell them to go harder. But if they're going as hard as they
Yeah, yeah.
can, I'm like, focus, infinite power, infinite energy. You're doing great. No mind. I'm done. Like, keep going. You're getting stronger. Strong arms, strong body, infinite heart. Like, I'm just, I'm feeding them. And then I'm like, what should I do now? Take a breath, relax, breathe. I'm telling them that kind of thing. That's the kind of
Yeah,
thing you
yeah.
tell to somebody who's going hard. That's what makes them
Totally.
continue to grow.
Totally. Okay, okay. I love where you're headed with that. It's this idea that to truly push yourself and to grow, you don't have to force it. you have to push it, right? You have to push the limits, but you don't have to force it. And
Mhm.
it reminds me of lessons I've learned from like lifting weights, right? I know that even though it's not my goal to bench 400 pounds, right? I would have to gain a lot more mass to
Mhm.
bench 400 pounds. That's the thing. I don't necessarily want to gain a ton more mass. I like my body weight. I'm really strong. I look great. I feel great. I'm healthy, right? But if I say like I am capable of benching 400 pounds, I'd be able to hit it, but I would be like forcing myself to do it. When in reality, what's really going to give me my best results is like asking myself right now, like, what are my true physical goals? Am I doing that for somebody else? Which we get back to this theme, right? You doing it for yourself? Are you doing it because you think that the only way that you're allowed to win is if it's so hard that it sucks and you hate it? Like that, if that's the
Classic.
only way you're allowed to win, then the only thing you're going to do are things that you suck at and that you hate,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
And you don't want to do that. Like that feeling of that natural, like I am powerful and I can use this like strength, instead of being like I have to destroy like through these natural, like I don't want to say barriers, but like natural, not limits. What would I say? What would you call it when somebody's like got a different goal than you? It's not like a limit. It's literally just like who you are naturally, like connecting to God, right?
Yeah.
Who God made you to
Yeah.
be. That's what you're focusing on.
Yeah.
You're not trying to
It's
focus
what you're
on
made
something
for,
else.
you know, like what you're made for. Like I some people are made to do sprints, some people are made to do long distance, man. Like some people are made to be monks, like the link that you sent. Like that threw me for a loop. Looking at those monks that you sent me, the Orthodox monks. I'm like, bro, what? These guys wake up at 3 a.m. every day, same thing every single day, just pray 24 hours a day. And I literally was, I mean, for about an hour, Marshall, I was thinking to myself, are these people even connected to God? Like they're just sitting there like robots. Like they're just robots. And the answer is they might be robots. Some of them, they actually are meant to do this. Yeah, they might be and probably are connected to God, like super connected to God. But it was
Yeah,
just such a mind-blowing thing to really think about. And if you try to veer off what you're meant for, you might, if you're really lucky, you might hit that, say, 400-pound bench if you're not meant for it. But you're not going to stay there. You're not going to want to stay there.
totally.
You're not. It's not meant for you. Like you weren't. That's not what you're supposed to do. Like I remember in solar, it's like, dude, I could go out and I could blitz it like anybody, but there was times when I needed to, like, after a certain amount of years of that, I needed to take some time and figure out, okay, I need to like figure out what I'm doing with my family life. I need to figure out what I'm doing with like my well-being and like my thoughts even, you know, just like random things like my health, like just and like where I want to live, like literally where do I want to buy a house, like that kind of thing. And people were so upset that I wanted to do that. I'm like, bro, the company can't even handle the growth that we're having now. Like, we're good, bro. Like, you don't want me to put the gas on the pedal. Let me figure this out when we're doing too much growth and we can't handle the sales we have.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
but people will get mad at you, like, oh no, just the answer is more sales, more grind. Okay, you've never gotten any before. Okay, that's why you're saying that.
Yeah. Oh man, such a good point. Tr- Such a good point. It's allowing how your life like changes, and it's allowing growth to happen. I remember a coach of mine, his name's David Scoggins, great guy. Um, he told me once, and this is when I was really struggling, right? Um, he said, because I was so obsessed with just sales, right? And he was like, growth is not limited to making more sales. Like it's not. There's other things that will indicate growth.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sales are good, but it's like look at yourself and say, what how do I want to grow in my life? Like I would not be able to have the quality of a relationship I have with my wife and with myself right now if I stuck in the same exact type of work and grind and use of my time that I was doing before. I just wouldn't be able to make it and I would be less happy. I know that.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and part of allowing yourself to do that and allowing yourself to grow where you're supposed to grow is not taking the pressure of the people that aren't on the same path as you and that don't understand like that kind of a mastery. Like for example, if you have most people have teammates in business, or maybe even like their bosses in business, and and it's usually in sales. Like usually, like the guy who's like us is usually in sales because we have those big goals and dreams. And if you let those people make you feel pressured and bad about doing what you need to do to grow, it's going to throw your growth off. So you've got to just be ruthless with doing what you want to do. Success, truth, right? So you have to be ruthless with doing that and being on your path, and feed them whatever they need to hear. Just get them off your back so you can do what you need to do for the company to do the best and for you to do the best. That's what needs to be done. So,
Yeah.
now, and that's why guys like me and you are doing great financially, great spiritually, great in all areas of our life. Like you don't find much of that. Usually people hit one out of the three. If they're
Mm,
really, really spectacular, they'll do two out of the three. But you get three out of the three. I mean, I don't have my family yet, but I'm on the path, and I have nothing but
sure.
healthy relationships. The wife is going to come from God. I can't control that. I've tried. It doesn't work. So you got to just, anyways, point being is you gotta work on what you gotta work on. I hope that somebody who is in me and your position is listening to this, and it gives them
Yeah.
the uh, the ruthlessness and the confidence to be like, no, I'm gonna take care of myself. And if something bad happens from that, you'll be taken care of. It'll be good. The only regret I have on it, it's not even like a true regret, but like knowing what I know now, I wish I would have been on this path a lot sooner. The tangible path I'm on, I wish I would have been on this tangible path that I'm on now a lot sooner. It would have been way better for
Mhm.
everybody, me and my teammates.
And that's what I think there's this dichotomy or like a balance between looking at the past and being like, oh man, like I learned so much from it, and thinking that like basically regretting it, right? You can have regrets. It's fine. It's not like a bad thing.
No
It's actually
regrets,
good.
man. It's like the same thing as
No
like, don't be a
regrets.
pussy. It's like, dude,
Exactly. It's the
of
same
course I
thing.
have regrets. So many. Like that's how you learn, dude.
Exactly. And to tell yourself you don't is a lie.
Yeah.
It's a lie. If you're truly growing, you're going to look back and be like, damn, I wish I would have done something different. Like, I regret that. But you can take it, you can tell yourself two stories about that. You can say, oh man, I am a failure. I messed this up. Or you can say, wow, this is what I learned from that. Now I'm taking it into my next steps. Right.
Oh yeah. I mean, sometimes
And
when I lose money, it's so painful. I'm just like, nope. You had to learn, Andrew. You had to learn. If you go through these losses and you aren't learning, it's way too painful to keep going. Like you,
yeah,
you, you have got to figure out what it is to learn from it. I couldn't imagine not having learning lessons. I mean, how are you going to go through life without learning? Are you just going to take that L straight to the freaking heart? Kill me, bro. No, absolutely not.
yeah, no way, no way. Yeah, there's two really important ideas that I want to make sure that everybody who hears this can start to connect with. And the first one is we've been touching on it a lot, right? We've been kind of circling the boat of this concept of growth and what it actually looks like. And there's something that you posted and you had said in a group that we're in about glide to grow,
Hmm.
like glide for growth.
Yeah.
And I think we're approaching what that really means. What does glide to grow mean to
Yeah,
you?
we've been touching on it, but to put it like really directly. So when you get to this really high level athletically, just in any area of your life, it gets to a point where you can't will yourself to go farther. You already want to go so hard that the only thing you can do now is improve your energy in that area on the path. So athletics is like the easiest way to describe it. So I had two knee surgeries. The first one was because I actually blew my knee out. The second one was because the first one went wrong, and I found out 5 months later. Didn't get the second surgery until like 5 months after I found out it was a bad surgery. So it's like 10 months after the first surgery was when I got the second one. So we're talking like a good like 2.5 years of recovery. Not even talking like the mental aspect. So anyways, point of me bringing that up is I had some knee problems that was like kind of coming into my life in the last 6 months out of nowhere, and I had re-healed everything, and like I had this ankle problem that wouldn't go away. I had the like I had all these like weird little problems. I couldn't figure it out, and my answer would always be, well, I've given it enough time to heal. Let me just muscle through it. Let me just keep going. And every workout I did was, I'm just gonna, freaking book it. I have a very, very high testosterone level, and like I actually became attached to it. I was like, I don't want my test to go down. I want to like keep it like a really high test level because that's so cool to me. So I'd be like, no, I
You
have
can
to keep.
tell everybody my test is 800. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I have to keep doing these like crazy, crazy workouts, blah blah blah. So I keep it up, and basically all it was doing without me knowing it, it was just hurting me. It was actually I didn't get it tested, but it's probably lowering my test. Honestly, it's probably what it was doing. So I go to Costa Rica and I get some stem cells put in my knee, and nothing really happens from that. And so at one point, I just decide this must be like an energy thing. I don't know like how it came into my head, but it did. And I just started doing workouts that I wanted to do because clearly nothing else was working anymore. And every time I got to a new high, boom, I'd get hurt somewhere else again. Like I'd even break my finger. Like, it's just random
Hmm.
stuff, it didn't make sense. So I started doing whatever I want to do. Everything heals. And this is the crazy part. It actually happened instantaneously because the metaphysical world is instantaneous. Now, don't get me into the quantum stuff, but all I know is this: as soon as I started doing the workouts I wanted to do, and my energy started to get how it needed to be, my knee healed, and everything else, boom, no pain. And it's been that way. It's been that way now for months. I don't know how many months, maybe like 4 or 5 now. But this is not some like new thing that just whoa, it just happened. No, it's stayed this way. No pain in my body has stayed this way, and at the same time, I've gotten more athletic. I just hit a new PR on bench. Just hit a new PR, getting more athletic, feeling better. Cardio. I just hit a new cardio personal record. This is like 3 days ago. So I'm gaining new gains. How am I doing this? By doing easier workouts, bro. By doing like sometimes I'll go in the gym and I won't even work out. Sometimes I'll go in the gym and I'll just like move around or something. Like today, I didn't know what I was going to work out today until like 5 minutes into being at the gym. Like the whole morning, I didn't know what I was going to do. The whole drive to the gym, I didn't know what I was going to do. I go in the gym. I'm like, I guess I'm feeling this right now. And I didn't even try to go hard. Oh, maybe I did 2 sets of bench today instead of I have to do 5 sets. It used to be like 3 to 5 sets of bench. No, two, that was good. Two was good right now. Now I'm going to do
Mhm.
these handstand push-ups. Now I'm going to do this. It's like, and I'm listening to my body. I'm listening to my soul. I'm listening to my energy. I'm like, oh, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do. And I've been doing that now for like whatever, 4 to 6 months, whatever it's been since the Costa Rica trip. No pains, only gains. The workouts have been literally easy because they're enjoyable. I'm enjoying it, so therefore it's easy. But they're actually harder workouts because I'm doing more, but I'm enjoying it, so it's like not even hard. I'm like, oh, like I want to do it, like let me at it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's the same way in business. It's the same way with relationships. Like, oh, I don't feel like going on that date. Then don't go on the date, bro. Then or find a date that you do want to go on. Okay. So it's all intertwined. But if you are trying to force things, you get to a certain level where you're a multimillionaire or you're a peak athlete or you have a great wife, whatever. You get to this level, or you have like a great social life. You get to this level, and action can't get you further anymore. It's going to be now because you've proven that you can get yourself to do what you say you're going to do. You've proven that you can stick to commitments. You've proven you can do these crazy actions. It'd be one thing if you had never done it. You've proven you can do it. Now you need to okay, I'm getting hurt now. It's like you're trying to bend something to make it loose, but if you bend it too much, you snap it completely. So at that point now, when you get to the highest level, how relaxed can you be? How much can you enjoy it? And no one talks about that because what is there like what like 0.1% of people even get to that level? There's no money in this. There's no money.
Sure.
I mean, maybe there is. Maybe like the highest level of consulting is this. I don't know. I don't care. I'm doing it for me, but that is the highest level. And if you are at a bottom level or even a medium level and you try to take this advice, it's probably not good for you. It's not for you. It's for the high levels.
Yeah. It's interesting. What it is it's you've hit a point where you've proven to yourself that you can do the work.
Yes.
It's just a matter of, well, what work am I going to do? And am I going to keep doing it and doing it in a way where it fits into my life like a glove? Like I don't have to force it. It is what it is. It is part of how I do life. When you can make your fitness like that, your business like that, other things, your relationships, it's so much more sustainable. It's long term, right?
Long term.
And it's long term. And the crazy thing about long term results is that it takes short term commitment. And sometimes we see big long term things as like, oh man, I'm going to work out for the next 80 years of my life, right? Till I'm 110. And then I'm like, geez, 80 years, man. But like how I've gotten to where I have and how you've gotten to where you are is seeing it as a day by day thing that becomes part of that longer term. Trusting yourself to do the work. You hit a point where you trust yourself to do the work, and then it's all about like how you do the work from then on.
Yes.
Not whether or not you do it, but how you do it, and trusting your gut, trusting your feeling, trusting like, hey, this isn't the right move. This is the right move. I need to push
Mm-hmm.
myself here. I need to lay off here. You need to have periods of intentional rest to go and crush something, right?
Oh, yeah.
You need to take that rest before you do that max
Yeah.
bench, or you're not going to hit the max bench.
Yeah. And that's easier said than done. After
Yeah.
years and years of winning through going hard and years of being told either by yourself or by other people that you need to go hard, the scariest and hardest thing to imagine is that you're going to not go hard and you're going to get gains and that you're not going to lose what you have just because you didn't go hard. So it's like the new goal is, hey, you better chill out, bro. Like you're getting too, you're going too hard. You got to relax, pull back, rear back like the horse, like rear back stallion, real, chill out, bro. Like you relax. And it's hard because you don't want to. You want to go hard. Like you become you get like a little love for the masochism, but you got to do it. You got to do it. Otherwise, you break yourself. You got to know where you're going to break
You
yourself.
injure, you get injured, and then you've lost your progress. I recently had an injury. I fell down skiing and I cut myself, right? But my shoulder also got hurt. Like I hit my shoulder pretty hard, and I had a labrum, not a tear, but like pretty bad injury for several years that it took me a long time to finally get past. And I just landed on it the wrong way, and I felt today, I was like, oh, I feel this starting to bug me. I'm just gonna stop. I didn't have a super long workout today. I did some shoulders, I did some back stuff, but then I stretched, I breathed, I did some breathing exercises, and I feel great, right? And I could go through and think that I think what you said about going hard. Here's the thing: like you and I we're not going to not go hard,
Yeah.
but it's when we convinced ourselves that like I have to go harder because like the only way to grow is just to go harder and harder and harder and harder and harder. You're literally just beating yourself to death. Like nothing's actually coming of
You got to
that.
break the
You've
engine.
got to actually exactly what it means to go hard is to actually do the hard stuff. And sometimes the hardest thing to do is to take a step back and be like, what am I really doing here? Right? That takes more work than the 24-hour day
Dude,
and the sleepless
I
night.
agree. It's true. And the thing is, if someone watching this hasn't broken themselves by going so hard, I kind of think you do need to break yourself. Like the whole reason why I had a knee injury in the first place is because I dunked for the first time, and I was so excited
Mhm.
about it. I kept trying to do it over and over and over and over again, and I never took care of my body. I remember that year specifically. I was like, I'm gonna take my company to the top of the nation single handedly, no matter what. I was like sacrificing my soul for it mentally. That's what I was gonna do, and of course, I blow my knee out before I can even do that. Kind of
Mm.
coincidental. Anyways, um, what was I going to say? Yeah, I think that you should find out where your limits are and see for yourself so that you have conviction for it. You know, when you're a mentor, as you know, when you're a mentor, your mentees are not going to listen to what you say at the beginning. The goal of a good mentee is to only make the mistake one or two times versus the, 500 times that you would make it if you didn't have the mentor. So if
Mm.
you're a mentee listening to me and Marshall right now, do what you're going to do. You need to find out for yourself that you will break yourself and you will just eventually have to realize that the slow glide to grow is the fast way. You'll have to learn that. But instead of learning it over the course of 5 years, maybe, or more, like I had to learn, you'll learn it in 1 or 2 injuries. That might take a couple months. There you go. And now you're ahead of the game at 22. And by the time you're 30, you'll be a freak of nature in business and everything. So there you go. And
Beautiful.
as a mentor, don't freak out if your mentees don't listen to you, because they need to find out for themselves. So let
They need to find out for
a
themselves.
good mentee will make the mistake only once or twice. The great ones will make the mistake 3 to 5 times. A horrible mentee just never takes it. So as long as they end up taking it, they're a good mentee. You just hopefully they're a smart
Sure.
mentee, and they, I'm like I learned this from myself. I'm like, oh, my mentor told me don't do this. Well, I'm still gonna do it, but like I want to like I just want to learn. Okay, he was right. Okay, he was right. I got you.
Yeah, yeah. You got to push the limits. You got to learn the lesson,
Yeah,
right? It's actually interesting because anything worth learning is going to take some pain, and you can't actually feel the pain unless you actually learn the lesson. Like that's one of the issues I see with like coaching and stuff like that these days is it's very tempting as a coach, as mentors, right? As somebody who wants to help other people grow, to try to give people the answers and to say, "Oh, here's the answer." Like now you don't need to learn the lesson, like you just need to know the information.
yeah,
But to learn the lesson, you got to get smacked.
yeah.
Right? To actually learn it, you got to get smacked.
And
And
as a mentor, you take it as disrespect. You're like, I just told you the answer. Like I've been through all this. What do you think I'm wrong? No, they don't think you're wrong.
yeah,
They have to experience it, man. Like I used to freak out. I used to get so mad at people, bro. Like, yeah, you can't freak out though. You just gotta realize that they're gonna go through it, and they'll learn, and then they'll come back and they'll, oh, you were right, okay, and yeah, and then they're ready for the next one.
exactly. And you do that with yourself too. You got to allow yourself like have that relationship with God or however you see yourself, like that best version of yourself, whatever it may look like to you, and push yourself through it. Like give yourself the same accountability, but also the same amount of like understanding. Like you're gonna have to learn the lesson.
Yeah,
And that concept of gliding to grow is really really key, and it's going to be something that we continue to like put to practice, right? There's a question that I want to go over with you to finish off. We've got a little bit of time left here, and I really want to ask you a question that I've been pondering on, that I kind of discovered. It kind of got revealed to me of sorts, right? I was in California just a month and a half ago or so, and I was doing some masterminding with some business partners, some other people in my team. And here it is. Ask yourself this question, put yourself in this situation. You are right now, you get visited by God. God reveals himself to you in a pillar of light. And while 10, 15 minutes is passing, you communicating with God, the outside world, it's like a split second. Right? You go into this zone, you are visited, peered, God is in front of you and he's communicating to you. He says, "Andrew, this is your great timing." He says, "Andrew, this is your purpose in life." And God actually tells you what your purpose is for that period of time, and then it ends, right?
mm-hmm.
What would God tell you is your purpose in life?
I would say exactly what I'm doing now, which is continue to serve the world, serve yourself, because when you serve yourself, you are serving the world, and double down on all the right things and never doing the wrong things, and just have full faith. I think that's what God would tell me. Have full faith. That's your purpose. Just have full faith. Take all the action. Never do the wrong things, and just serve the world with nature, with good business, with the people of the world. Give interactions to the people of the world. Just always be out in the world. That's I'm like the opposite of a monk. That's my purpose. That's what God I think would tell me, is like you just the opposite of the monk, but the same mindset of a monk. So you were saying before, you're like, you're not a hippie. It's like, well, I'm a warrior, and a warrior is kind of like a soldier that's combined with a hippie, you know. So, um, yeah, I just gotta keep on serving.
Serving. So it's service
Yeah,
to yourself and to the world.
yeah. Give the most and give the best. Give the best energy and give the most energy.
Beautiful. Well, with that, this has been a great discussion, Andrew. We have a lot of good opportunity to go out and let the best come to us by doing the best for ourselves, right? Doing the best for other people and learning that. Like, allow yourself to make the mistakes, but learn the lessons and take it into the future with confidence, knowing that you will win, faith that you will win. So, of
Yeah, Marshall, thanks for doing this, man. This is a great way for us to
course.
catch up because normally we have crazy talks like this, but they're not recorded. So,
Yeah, yeah. And even if it's just for us, but I think there's
yeah,
a lot of people who will benefit from this. So thank you for sharing your thoughts and your honest reflections, Andrew. We'll do this again
let's
soon.
do it, man.